Kirk Ferentz holding his first game week press conference of the season. My reaction to some of the tidbits from Tuesday's presser in a moment. But first, a reminder to please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel here at From the Hawkeye of the Storm. Post-game content throughout the season, content throughout basketball. Everything you need as a Hawkeye fan right here. Plus, want to thank our sponsors. First of all, Under the Kitchen, Randy Engel going to be at Fry Fest with some original Hawkeye prints. Great stuff. Go to Under the Kitchen on Facebook to learn how you can purchase one of these outstanding prints. And Ascent Nutrition, their Ascent coffee. This stuff is pure mold and mycotoxin free, owned by a former Iowa graduate, Lance Shuttler. Visit goascentnutrition.com. Use the code Hawkeyes for 15% off. I'm going to have some of this morning. 15% off for one of these bags of Ascent coffee from Ascent Nutrition. So, Kirk Ferentz meets with the media on Tuesday. What do we take away from the press conference? First of all, the addressing of the depth chart. The depth chart, which was released on Monday, very few changes between the preseason July depth chart and this one. And certainly Kirk Ferentz alluded to the fact that he just doesn't really care about these depth charts. And we knew that. But it was funny, at one point in the presser, somebody brought up Jennings Dunker, who had been working out as the first-team right guard. I mentioned him the other day and how he was not on the depth chart. And Kirk acted like he thought he was on the depth chart. And then he kind of chuckled about it. So Kirk makes a habit of kind of downplaying the significance of these depth charts. And I think those out there who say they don't mean anything, they're probably wrong. And those who say that they're set in stone, I think it's clear that that's the wrong viewpoint as well. I think there's a balance here. And although I don't think that every position is as it's stated on the depth chart, I do think 90% of what we're seeing on the depth chart is what we're going to see on the field. Wide receiver is obviously a problem. Jack Johnson, Alec Wick, a couple walk-ons are listed as 3 and 4 right now. Keegan Johnson, Kirk said he is, he said, and I quote, "we'll see," and that he's touch and go. Reganey is out. We talked about him a week or so ago. He is out for the first couple of games, according to Kirk Ferentz. David Cobb, we've been speculating about him. He had not been with the team during fall camp. He is out for the season. Will he rejoin Iowa after the season? I have no idea. That really wasn't answered. That wasn't really questioned by the media to Kirk Ferentz. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. We talked about the wide receiver position. Will we see Arlen Bruce also returning punts? Kirk Ferentz did say that's still a possibility. He's not making decisions about punt return with a mind to injuries at wide receiver. And I guess to some extent, you like not playing scared, but I am a bit scared putting your only healthy scholarship wide receiver back there. And hopefully Keegan Johnson, can get there. It does sound like Jacob Bostic and Brody Brecht are healthy, but they're nowhere on the depth chart, which would tell me they're behind the 2 walk-ons. Kirk also brought up Riley Moss as being a potential punt return guy and Alec Wick as being a punt return guy. No punt return listed on the depth chart, which is something different. Last year, and in typical years, you have kickoff return, punt return, holder listed. None of those positions listed on the depth charts that we've gotten so far this fall. He also brought up the 2 Williams guys, Gavin and LeSean, as possible kick return candidates. He also etched in stone Spencer Petras as your starting quarterback. No surprise there. I've been saying that for months, that it would take a massive injury for Spencer Petras to not be your starter. I just think he's ahead of Alex Padilla, and I think I'm speaking mainly from what the coaches seem to perceive, and that is that he is their number 1 guy. Sam Laporta, Riley Moss, Kayvon Merriweather, and Jack Campbell are your captains for week 1. No surprise. Great leadership on this team, and there's some guys that are just not going to be on that group because there's just too many of them, which is a good problem to have. It does sound like Iowa will be playing TJ Hall, Aaron Graves, and Xavier Wampa all season, which is not a surprise either. All 3 of those guys, I don't expect any one of them, barring injury, to be held to the 4-game limit for that red shirt. So all those guys will burn their red shirt. I think you may see more than that. I'll talk about that here sometime this week, about freshmen I expect to see for the entire season or just part of the season, freshmen that I think will take a red shirt for development. It also sounds like Caleb Johnson and Jazian Patterson have a chance to play, which, again, that's something that I've had confidence in for a while. I thought Jazian Patterson ran really well at Kids Day. Decisive runner. Of course, it's easier to play as a true freshman if you're a running back. Caleb Johnson has the physical tools at 6'1", 215, 220 to be a guy who plays right away. And they'll need depth. I mean, you're going to have, at times, your running backs are going to get dinged up. We've seen that at Iowa on a number of occasions, number of seasons. As far as this team coming into Kinnick on Saturday, I talked with Mark Rogers, the voice of college football, on our weekly show over on his Iowa channel yesterday. And I think fans should be concerned. I don't think they should be worried, but I think concern is appropriate. This is a really good South Dakota State team. They've got 1 or 2 NFL tight ends. They've got experience, size, physicality at wide receiver. They've got a mobile quarterback who presumably was the starter ahead of Jordan Oladokun, although Oladokun transferred, and I get that. But people perceive Gronowski, their starting QB, to actually be better than Oladokun, who got drafted by the Steelers. This is an NFL player-producing team. We think about guys like Dallas Goedert. He was a South Dakota State Jackrabbit. You look at what they have at running back. They've got skill and talent at running back. Their lead back is 6'1", 215, 220, kind of like Caleb Johnson, but with more experience. So this is a dangerous game. I do think Iowa's defense is set up to be able to stop them. I think the one position to really watch is South Dakota State's wide receivers against Iowa's DBs, and I'll talk about why when I break down this game in our game preview set to be released, I believe, tomorrow. Lots of content coming here in the next few days. If you have not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Great guests. We've got Don Patterson coming on the show Thursday. We've got Don Patterson coming on the show after the game on Saturday. Great content here all season long from the Hawkeye of the Storm.